Did you ever try to wash your favorite cap? You know, the greasy, dirty, grimy, perspiration-stained cap? The one you'll keep forever no matter what? You could wash it, but what about the shape? Introducing Clean Cap, the fast, easy, surefire cap saver. It's simple. Just put your cap in the Clean Cap cage, snap it shut, throw it in your dishwasher or even washing machine, and presto, a fresh, clean cap and shaped just the way you like it. And Clean Cap is made from space-age plastic for years of use. Best of all, you'll save money because it costs less than the average cost of a new cap.
Just what you are.
Welcome to the Cinematic Void podcast. Cinematic Void is a cult film series that hosts screenings in the Los Angeles area as well as virtually. I'm your host, Jim Branscombe, and joining me as always is...
Hey, it's Nick Vance, Paramount Features on social media. You can find Cinematic Void on the World Wide Web at cinematicvoid.com, as well as Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and all major podcast platforms. If you want to support The Void, consider joining our Patreon. All right, Jim, what's going on?
This is a little bit of a kind of reflective episode. I've noticed last couple August, we've done like kind of recaps. Like, first one of these we did like when we came out of the lockdown period of the pandemic, and then last year we just did one that was like a year later. So this is going to be kind of a 2-year later thing, but we're going to talk about more specific things, not really free flowing. First thing I want to talk about is the 2 of the episodes that just came out, not counting the August lineup one, but I'm talking about the Blu-ray Burnout and the Horror Clout episodes, and we got a lot of feedback. Maybe not a lot online, but I got a lot of DMs. I got a phone call. I got like all kinds of stuff, and you got some of that too, didn't you?
I did.
And I thought we might get flamed a little bit just because of the sensitivity of both those things, but a lot of people were just like, I don't know, we might have started a movement, at least in the Blu-ray one. Like, the amount of people were like, yeah, fuck this shit, I'm getting rid of all my stuff. I mean, maybe not that far, but...
Marie Kondo'd these motherfuckers. Now I'm going to go buy all the Criterion, at Amoeba or whatever, you know? I'm just like, everybody's going to sell their collections. I'm going to go fucking swoop in and grab them cheap.
Was that your ploy the whole time?
The whole time, dude.
Just like all these people were like, I'm liberated. And you're like, I'm liberating your Criterions back into my collection.
Hell yeah.
I mean, it's a smart move if that was your plan. Have you gotten an offer for that Irreversible yet?
No, that's the other plan.
That one hasn't paid off yet. But no, a lot of people the people that I talked to just were basically talking about their relationship on collecting physical media in general. And like a lot of her, like people I knew who had big record collections, big Blu-ray collections. And I even had a few people from labels reach out, and I was talking to them, and they're like, oh, we get it. And, I'm not going to say who it was or whatever, but like, there's just a reevaluation of just like, preparing for potential in the market change and just realizing like, it's going to be quality over quantity in the long haul for a lot of people and a lot of labels. So, I mean, I don't think Blu-rays and physical media collecting will ever go away because there will always be someone that's going to collect something. It's just that, that's why Funko Pop still exists, and I don't understand that at all. I mean, that seems like, with a Blu-ray you can watch it, with the record you can play it. What the fuck do you do with a Funko Pop?
Yeah.
It just kind of sits there, but I don't know. If it brings you joy, then it brings you joy. I just don't get it. The other one, the Horror Clout one, was...
Are you referencing Marie Kondo there?
I guess I am.
Yeah.
This is going to be... That's all this second section of the podcast is that. But the Horror Clout one was like...
we help people realize they're dorks.
Well, I mean, I'm still a dork. I mean...
And they shouldn't be getting autographs from people they don't know. Well, they should leave people alone.
I still think, that we weren't going to ever change anyone on that either. But, like, I feel like the evaluation of just, like, why do you do stuff? Like, what is the point? Is it a personal thing, or is it literally just for clout? And I don't know. I could easily, be called out as hypocritical for, like, some of the things I've done pretty recently, but we'll get to those. Put a little gap in there so your memory gets lost and forget, like, wait a minute, you did a whole Horror Clout episode and did this, that? And yeah, I know. I never said I wasn't a hypocrite.
Yeah, I just bought a bunch of Blu-rays.
Yeah, I mean, we're both hypocrites. I didn't get anything from the Criterion sale. I ended up not ordering anything. And I had planned to get it after hours in Targets, and I just didn't. A couple things we should talk about, speaking of physical media and, I guess, horror cloud in a way. We recorded our first Blu-ray commentary. And I don't want to say what it is because I don't think it's been publicly announced yet, but I think it's coming out maybe October is my guess.
Cool.
So, we had fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And, you know, it was kind of weird because it's just like, it was finding the balance of like how much to talk.
Yeah.
And then how much to get information across and then how much to just like riff.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It's not a podcast, you know? No,
it's not. But I went back as I was going back and kind of editing and tightening up things before we turned it in. It was just like, this is fun. And kind of looking forward to doing it again.
Cool.
So be on the lookout for that. Nick, you got anything you want to recap for the past year or so? Or
we're recapping a whole year? I was just going to talk about like what happened last week.
Oh, you can talk about last week. It doesn't have to be a whole year. It can be as wide or as small of a recap as you want.
Right on.
Because I'm certainly not doing a full year.
So Nikolai hit me up last week, and he's like, hey, man, do you want to go see Oppenheimer? Fucking blah, blah, blah. I wasn't paying attention. But I saw, do you want to go see Oppenheimer on Saturday? And I'm like, oh, I'm not fucking working Saturday. So I said yes. And then I jump on later to ask, hey, what time is the screening? And then I realized he told me what time, and that time was 6 a.m. So after projecting Friday night and, you know, being at the theater, I think the film didn't even let out till like 12:15 or something, you know? So I was there pretty late, and then had to go see Oppenheimer at 6 a.m. and we went to Denny's first. So we had so it was a whole like chill sesh, and then went to see Oppenheimer. I fell asleep a couple times. I did the kind of like when you fall asleep where your head falls and it like wakes you up because your head like snapped fucking backwards, you know?
Yeah.
Like you feel like you were just falling. I had that happen once, but I didn't really like sleep through the film or anything. I just think I had like a couple like couple little fallout moments.
And it wasn't really a reflection of the movie. It was the reflection of the fact that you got up.
It was fucking 6 a.m. Yeah, for sure. Dude, I just had a whole full meal at Denny's.
So you got out late, you barely slept, you got the fucking itis from Denny's, and then you go and watch Oppenheimer at 6 a.m. I don't think I've ever gone to a movie theater to catch something that early.
Pretty wild. It's a pretty wild feeling. It was fucking packed out.
Well, I mean, I feel like they had to because, I think they started adding those stupid super early screenings.
I think there's a 4 a.m. and a 6 a.m.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Dude, what the hell? But
it was sick. It was a sick time.
And now that you've completed the Barbieheimer, because you saw Barbie and you've seen Oppenheimer, did the meme live up to the moment?
Barbie's way sicker.
Somehow I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, but I'm predictable at this point. They're both awesome. I don't see a lot of new stuff in the theater, so I don't know. It's kind of cool to check these boxes, you know.
That's cool. I mean, So
I didn't dress up as Oppenheimer, if you were wondering.
You didn't put on a fucking lab coat and a fedora.
Dumbass hat.
Oh, man.
God, I saw some fucking dickhead.
Was there someone actually dressed up?
No, yesterday I saw some guy wearing some fucking dumbass hat. And I'm just like, oh, fucking Oppenheimer.
Are you sure they weren't getting ready for a film noir down there or whatever?
Nah, it was close to fucking Silver Lake or
it was
Los Feliz or something, you know?
It's the hipster noir look or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah. So blame Oppenheimer, dude.
It's just everything's on Oppenheimer now. But you do anything else?
Nah, man, that's about the only excitement I've had. I've just been a working man.
I mean, that's pretty much what I've been doing since I got back from vacation, my horror cloud vacation, as it were.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again.
He took a vacation to fucking Long Beach?
No.
Where was it?
No, I went to the vacation was flew to Baltimore.
Right on. Yeah. You went out down.
Yeah, and then my girlfriend and I, my girlfriend Leslie and I, we drove up to Sleepy Hollow. It's like a 3.5 hour drive. Got to stop at New Jersey Turnpike rest stop, which I haven't done in like.
Let's clear this up again. Is the town actually called Sleepy Hollow?
Terrytown.
It's not called Sleepy Hollow.
It is not.
You're gonna keep referring to it as Sleepy Hollow.
Dude, they got signs that say Sleepy Hollow. It's like, welcome to Terrytown, Sleepy Hollow.
In parentheses.
Yeah. I mean, the cop cars have the fucking headless horseman on there.
Dude, that's sick. You did not send me a photo of this. You
saw-
sent me a photo of something.
Yeah, but I didn't send you a photo. I didn't really see cop cars. I found them online. So
That's wild, dude.
I mean, you gotta market it, and like
True.
I mean, basically we went around the cemetery of Washington Irving, who wrote Sleepy Hollow or Legend of Sleepy Hollow and some other things. Again, I can't name three books, bro. Can't. No. I'm sure I can if I really sat down and think about it, but
Have you tried to name 3 books?
No. I'm just gonna be a poser and be like, I only know it's like going to like Iron Maiden concert. I only know and Run to the Hills and Number the Beast, but
Yeah.
When the songs are that good, do you really need to know anything else? I mean, I know a lot of Iron Maiden songs, but I definitely do not know anything beyond the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. But he's buried in a cemetery, and they have like little signs all around where it's like there's a sign that says basically, this is where the historic covered bridge was. That was the inspiration behind like where Ichabod Crane got chased by the Headless Horseman and stuff like that. Then they have another bridge in this cemetery. But they keep acting like it's real, so it's like, wait a minute. I don't think it's like they treat it like a historic fact, which I find really, really amusing.
That's awesome.
I mean, there's a sign that says, legend has it the Headless Horseman ties his horse up and leaves him in the cemetery, and then I guess walks around, just takes a stroll or something like that. I don't know why. It's like, what do you do without a head?
Yeah.
That's an important question, but
haunt some motherfuckers.
I guess so, and throw jack-o'-lanterns at them. But
dude, Ichabod's a sick ass name. I think someone should, if you're listening, someone who has like a pregnant wife or girlfriend or something right now, name your kid Ichabod.
What did Nikolai just name his kid?
Stelline.
Man, could have called her Ichabod.
Could have called her Ichabod. Yeah, for sure.
You fucked up, Nikolai. Just bringing it back. But yeah, I'm surprised Ichabod has not made the comeback in like names, because there's some fucking dumbass names that people are naming their kids now.
Braden. Dude, you fucking name your kid Braden when Ichabod is available?
Oh yeah, fuck, dude. Yeah, Braden sucks. Just if I meet someone's like, this is my child Braden, I'd be like, yo, Ichabod. And they're like, why you keep calling my kid Ichabod? Because it's like, Ichabod's a cooler name than Braden. Jesus.
Do you think we have any listeners named Braden?
Oh, we don't anymore after that.
Yeah.
Unless they go and change their name to Ichabod.
For the pod.
For the pod. It's like, as we've done the Blu-ray like episode where people are like, you know what, I'm going to have a different relationship with physical media. The guy that's named Braden that's been listening to the podcast, like, you know what, I'm tired of this name. I'm going to change it to Ichabod. I mean, that's the power of, I guess, the podcast, maybe? Probably not. But I mean, I would love for someone, actually, even if your name's not Braden, if you legally change your name to Ichabod, let us know. I'll send you a Cinematic Void prize pack.
We'll send you a t-shirt.
Nah, I'll throw some other stuff in there. I'll throw some patches, some pins. I'll throw fucking Blu-rays in there. I will give you a fucking prize pack.
Look, if you change your name to, this whole thing is getting cut out. If you change your name to Ichabod, you won Jim's entire Blu-ray collection.
Oh, I will.
I will. He finally, like, it's like the fucking, the word, everything you said in that last podcast, boom.
There you go.
You won it.
I don't know about the whole Blu-ray. not when it's a seller's market still on Blu-rays. Like right before this trip, I went and because of that episode, I was like, I want to get rid of a bunch of other shit. And I sold like maybe not a lot, but like a good grip of titles. And like, I think the guy at Amoeba thought it was like suicidal or depressed or something like that. It's like, can I ask you why you're getting rid of this stuff? I was like, I just don't need it. Yeah, it's really good stuff. And I was like, yeah, it is, but it's not good in my house.
Wow.
Yeah. I think the guy...
Like what was the caliber of stuff that you were taking on this round?
There was Vinegar Syndrome stuff. There was some Mondo Macabro stuff. And it's like it's not really because like I got rid of most of the shit that I'm not really in love with at this point. This was just stuff that's like, yeah, that's cool, but am I going to watch it again?
Is it like, was it box set stuff? Was it rare stuff?
There's a couple box sets. I mean, it becomes rare because of the slipcover and that kind of stuff. But my other thing is like, yeah, I could go on eBay and sell it. And obviously, I'm not making as much money by going to Amoeba and selling it. But I also think it's kind of cool that someone's going to be out in the wild and they're going to stumble apart.
Put it out in the ecosystem. It's definitely way cooler to find it in the wild than to... It's so impersonal to just like, oh, I found it on eBay and paid some crazy price for it. Just like, I don't know, man. If you can afford it, let it go.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, I got a nice... I mean, obviously, if I took store credit, it would have been higher, but it's like, why would I want store credit? I'm trying to not... I'm trying to get rid of stuff, not accumulate stuff, so... But, you know, kind of back to this...
Just go turn it into records now. Jesus.
I did buy a couple records. They're at my girlfriend's house, so I'm not storing them at my place. She's the keeper of all records. She has a nice record collection, so... She's like, it's ours. And I'm like, well... I guess I can buy stuff and then I don't have to worry about it because I'll just leave it here. Mm-hmm. So, in the future records. But besides Sleepy Hollow after that, and I do want to say something. I saw someone, like maybe a week after I got back, I think Fangoria was posting about how, like, you know, Sleepy Hollow is not as crowded as Salem. It's a perfect place to go for, like, your Halloween season or whatever. And it's just like, I don't know about that. Salem's got a lot more things you can do, but yeah, Salem's fucking overcrowded. But it's like, I don't know if I'm gonna spend Halloween. Going around that cemetery and then kind of going by the house where Washington Irving was, Irving Washington. I keep being dyslexic with his name.
Yeah.
Wait, which one is it? I don't even know.
I think we made this joke like 6 months ago.
We did when we originally talked. I fucking whatever his name.
Yeah, but yeah, no.
Name 3 books. Certainly I can. I can't even name the dude's name.
Yeah.
But, like, you know, the town was cool, but it's just, like, I think what we did in our, like, day was pretty good. Oh, I forgot to talk about the Turnpike. So, going on the New Jersey Turnpike, I hadn't been on it forever, and, like, I was hoping to see a Roy Rogers. Not that I could eat there, but I was just, like, hoping they could still exist after, like, when we had DeHaven on. We were talking about the Fry Holster and the Gold Rush chicken sandwich. Don't have it anymore, but we stopped at one. I think it was the Walt Whitman one. Because every rest stop in New Jersey is named after a famous, like, New Jerseyan. Mm-hmm. And we stopped at one. We got coffee, like, just so we didn't pass out as we're driving up. And we stopped at the most dysfunctional Dunkin Donuts I've ever been to at a rest stop.
Yeah.
And it was just like, dude, the woman that was the manager was so over. And it wasn't even like there's a line. There was like 3 people that ordered what I could only consider to be diabetes in a cup.
Yeah.
It was like one of those Frappuccino. Like, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, it made me nauseated because it was just like some kind of like, I
don't know, dude. People out here get excited about Dunkin' Donuts. When I think of Dunkin' Donuts, I think of the East Coast and people like nodding out on heroin inside a Dunkin' Donut. That's what I think. I think of like some dirty, fucked up place. I mean, Dunkin' Donuts sucks. Fuck Dunkin' Donuts, dude. I feel that strongly. That shit sucks, dude. You order a coffee, it's like half sugar. Fuck you guys.
Let me get back. Let me continue here. I didn't know you had such...
I hate Dunkin' Donuts so much, dude. It's so gross, dude.
I never knew this about you. Well, all right. So anyway, as you insinuate my point about like how fucking sugary that shit is.
Yeah.
So there was like a family that they were all giant size. Like they look, how
the family.
No, the fucking drinks. I mean, they might have been giant size after they drank those.
Yeah, okay.
Fuck, dude. Like, I don't know what those drinks were, but they had to remake them. There's one, because the one was like, this doesn't look like a turtle, like the turtle, like ice cream. Like, you're not supposed to put like mocha in it or some shit. I'm like, what the fuck are you guys, what are you making? What you drinking? We got lattes, which are espresso. And like the fucking manager's freaking out, like, oh man, who wants espresso at this time of night? And I'm like, I want espresso over fucking sugar. And then there's a person behind the counter who we had our order taken yet that was counting tips. And the manager's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "You told me to count tips." "Not right now." And then like all of a sudden this other girl comes walking. She's like, "Oh, thank God, overnight girl's here." And I'm like, "Overnight girl?" It's like they don't even have a name. It's just like, that's just who you are. Just coming in to work like the overnight shift at the fucking Walt Whitman, New Jersey Turnpike Dunkin Donuts. So we get this espresso, and this lady's making a big deal that she's making a latte as opposed to whatever the fucking Frappuccino shit was, which looked more complicated. You know how you go in a coffee shop and they have the espresso machine? Sure. Dunkin' Donuts has an automated one. They just put it there and it just pumps out an espresso shot.
Oh, wow.
It took 2 minutes to make a latte with oat milk. No sugar added or anything. Just oat milk and fucking espresso. It was a regular latte. And I was like, but it was such a fucking disaster. And I was like, I just wanted to make a sitcom out of these people's lives.
Yeah.
It was that just insanity. And then as we're getting close to Tarrytown, we didn't go over the George Washington Bridge, which is like the big bridge you cross to get into New York City. We went over, I forget what the other bridge is, but as we were going through, we saw the last rest stop of the New Jersey Turnpike, and it was the James Gandolfini rest stop. And
sick. Hell yeah.
And I was trying to get a photo. My fucking phone wouldn't like focus, and I was so bummed. And then like I was on Instagram today and I saw Midnight Mark of the Coolidge. I guess he's out traveling, and he posted a picture. I was like, oh, sick. Someone got it. But anyway, that concludes Tarrytown, Sleepy Hollow, and the New Jersey Turnpike. But after that, Leslie and I went to Salem, and it was hot as balls there, but like it was cool. And I feel like no matter what time of year you go now, it's Halloween Tourist Central.
Yeah.
So one of the cool things we got to do there, we took the VIP tour at the Count Orlok's Nightmare Gallery, which is... We actually had James from the Nightmare Gallery on when we did the Salem, Massachusetts episode. I think it's episode 40. I think that's what it is from 2021. Time's flying. But it's the VIP tour is in the basement of the Wax Museum or the gallery or whatever you want to call it. It's called Vault Macabre Salem. And basically, it's the only place you can actually take photos of, because the regular museum, you can't take any photos just because they want to preserve the mystery. Yep. But the basement, so they have like works in progress of like different masks and different like things they're putting together. And there's also a really, really cool room where he's got like a bunch of artifacts, like, original, like there's like a big book of Faust and like medical stuff and like 2 vampire hunting kits from, I don't know where he found those. He said where he found them. I just can't remember off the top of it. But like, that was like one of the coolest things that I've gotten to do in Salem in a long time.
Yeah.
But it was nice. Stayed at the Hawthorne Hotel, and I guess like I didn't realize I got a nice room, like a huge room. I was like, shit, man, this is like a suite. Wasn't even trying to book that, so maybe just lucked out and got upgraded and didn't realize, but I don't know, it was nice. And then after did a little Salem, finally checked off my bucket list, going to the Ellis Estate, which is better known as the House by the Cemetery from Lucio Fulci's House by the Cemetery.
Cool.
It's also used in Umberto Lenzi's Ghost House. It is the Ghost House in Ghost House. Mm-hmm. And had to drive a little bit out of the way, but it was kind of cool. And
that's outside of Salem?
No, it's closer. You're going east towards Cape Cod. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm trying to think. You're going south of Salem and then east.
Okay.
And it's in a little weird, kind of like artsy, I don't know what you call it. It's Scituate, Massachusetts. I think it's like fishing town plus arts community. But like the house is on like a, I guess public, it's like in a public park or whatever, but it's run by an art collective, and no one was there when we went, so we couldn't go inside, but just kind of walked around. And if you want to see that is on the Cinematic Void vlog on the YouTube channel. So check it out if you want to see the House by the Cemetery filming location.
Cool.
Little plug, little horror clout there. Speaking of, another thing I did recently, I hosted a fashion show. Mm-hmm. And it was at Midsummer Scream, I guess this past weekend of whenever we're recording this. It was for Poltergeist and Paramours and the band Lovecraft. They were hosting this fashion show called Retrowave Nightmare. So it was kind of 80s themed. It was like all the fashion from Poltergeist and Paramours, and then Lovecraft was doing a DJ set and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool. I never thought I'd ever host a fashion show.
Yeah.
So I did two. There was a Saturday and Sunday one. Ran into William Sandell, who is the production designer on RoboCop and Total Recall and Piranha and Hocus Pocus. I had him when I did the Hocus Pocus screening back in 2018 is when I met him. But anytime I run him, he was like, "Hey Jim, how you doing?" So we just hung out a little bit and walked around. So it was cool to see him. Saw Josh Miller of Friday Night Frights and co-writer of Sonic the Hedgehog. Saw Ryan Turek of Blumhouse. Saw a few people I haven't seen in a while and normally don't run into. So that was kind of cool. Did too much walking. My fucking calves were killing me.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to get one of those like rascal scooters if I ever go to a convention again.
Oh God.
Just be one of those. Man, just I don't know. I'm getting old, dude. I don't have the walking stamina. Why can't I say this fucking word?
Can't walk or talk.
Yeah, can't walk or talk. Stamina. I still can't say it. What is the fucking word? Stamina? Yeah,
I'm leaving
stamina.
all this in, dude.
Yeah, please leave this all in. Please leave in as like I'm fucking stroking out here. I can't talk anymore. Well, yeah, I don't have the stamina. And, same thing happens to the shows. If I don't have a place to lean or sit, it's like I have a hard time seeing a band. It's like shit. But, I mean, it was kind of cool. And, I don't know. It's been busy July here in the Void. I wasn't there for it because I was on my vacation. I saw the huge panel for Friday the 13th Part 6.
Cool.
Which, like, it was on director Tom McLaughlin and, like, pretty much almost every single fucking actor from the movie.
Wild. So did they just moderate their own everything?
Yeah, they did his introduction. They I guess he brought them out one at a time. They all told a little story. And then the Jason, CJ, who played Jason in Part 6, he did a little video that played. And then they had a guy that dressed up as Jason walking through the crowd during the intro. So,
okay.
Looked pretty cool. Packed house. But, it's been a good July. Jaws sold out. Roller Coaster sold out. Friday 6 sold out. Jaws 2 got kind of close. Car did pretty good. And then just wrapped up July with Shigala, which had a decent crowd for that.
Cool. I projected Jaws 2.
Yeah, you did a sick job, too.
Yeah, thank you. But yeah, it was real sick. It was real fun. It was cool to run something in scope over at LF3. So, just shit, I don't know, just big ass screen. Looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, there's just something about a scope image, even when the movie's Jaws 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say, well, I'm going to say it anyway. I was hoping watching Jaws 2 in the theater would change my perspective on it.
Yeah.
It did nothing.
Right on.
I'm not a Jaws 2 fan. I actually like 3 and 4 better than 2.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're more entertaining or whatever. Because the only thing I could think about while watching Jaws 2 is just like how angry Roy Scheider is being in that movie, because he clearly didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And like, I know like they're like, well, everyone knows what the shark is like, so we might as well show it. Nah, that shark does not hold up to scrutiny.
Mm-hmm.
There's some, I don't know. My opinion of Jaws 2 being a 2-star movie or whatever I ranked in a letterbox remains. Because there's been movies I've watched where I've been kind of like, and then I see it in a theater and it just changes my perspective on it, and just Jaws 2 wasn't it. It was a beautiful print from the Universal Archive.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the car. That car print was fucking ignorant how good that looked.
Yeah, I inspected that one. I'm like, damn, has anyone ever ran this?
I know it's played maybe twice, but yeah, the car doesn't get a lot of play. And Shigala was a lot of fun to watch with a crowd.
Cool.
Although someone said, like, it's like, I like the part of the movie where it wasn't Friday the 13th better, because it's really like a treasure hunting movie for like the first like 2/3 of it, and then like really last third is when it becomes Friday the 13th.
Okay.
But it was fun to watch, and you're actually projecting the next Void that's coming up. You're doing Elm Street.
Yeah, totally. It's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a lot of things. Because this will come out after that has happened. Deanna Rooney is going to be Freddy Krueger. We came up with a elaborately stupid bit. Should mention she played Steven Spielberg at Jaws 2. And I think maybe my kind of like coldness to Jaws 2 had to do with there was a group of people there who were diehard Jaws 2 fans. and they fucking booed when I asked who here hasn't seen it, and like most of the audience had.
Dude, it's funny. It's funny the idea that, some like extra little thing would sour your. It's like, well, it doesn't change the movie.
No, it didn't. But
the movie's gonna suck either way.
Yeah, but I feel like it was just like it was just weird to hear people boo, and I had to like correct course. It's like, isn't it cool that this is going to be people's first experience seeing it in a movie theater?
I forgot that happened. That's right. But yeah, so you're like, yo, don't boo people because they haven't seen it.
Yeah,
it doesn't. If you haven't seen The Godfather, it's okay.
Yeah, it's like
if you haven't seen Jaws 2, it's okay. But I will say that Deanna did a great Spielberg, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. She kind of felt like, I don't know, because she was reacting. It's like you're reacting to the 5 dickheads who really love Jaws too.
You hate these guys.
I mean, I don't hate them, but it's just like, it's just fucking annoying. It's just like it's okay to love and champion a movie. It's another thing to be like, this is my, as much, it's just like you go on the bat for fucking Jaws too.
Damn, dude.
I don't know. I'm just being a hater now. I don't fucking care. Fuck them and fuck Jaws too. I'm only half kidding when I say that, or am I? I don't know, but kind of the close things out on a positive note here.
So anyway, Deanna was great.
Yeah, Deanna was great,
man.
I don't know.
God forbid someone enjoy something.
What?
God forbid someone enjoy something that you did.
Yeah, but are they enjoying it because I played it, or they enjoy it because like, oh, I think Jaws 2 is better than Jaws 1, which is some fucking malarkey.
I don't know, man. Fucking as soon as Edwin told me, he was like, Jaws 2, hell yeah. I'm like, dog, that shit sucks, dog. So but so it's just like, hopefully you're listening, Edwin. You know who I'm talking to. But yeah, man, sometimes you just gotta shit all over somebody that likes something. Let people like things. Hell no, dude. Fuck that.
No, I mean,
that sucks.
I'm actually okay with people liking things and loving things that I don't like, but I feel like because of like the tone of it, and it's just like, I don't know, I got rubbed the wrong way, and it's just like, I don't know. We talked about gatekeeping in that Horror Clout episode, and it's like, I think there's certain levels of gatekeeping, but it's like, you put yourself on a pedestal and you think you're better than people because you've seen Jaws 2 and you're seeing it in a theater, and it's like this, I don't know, the call to personality behind something films. It's like people liking Tool. That's my equivalent. Jaws 2 fans are Tool fans.
I think that Jaws 2 is just a very peculiar hill to die on.
Yeah. I don't know. They can die, and that fucking stupid burnt shark can die too.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, man. When it's getting electrocuted, it's dumb. It's dumb.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting to go just in deep. Maybe I just have therapy of just how much I hate Jaws too.
Yeah.
You need to. Maybe I do.
Some dudes will hate Jaws 2 instead of going to therapy.
Yeah, it's cheaper. I'm just gonna play movies that I absolutely hate, so I can complain about them later.
Yeah, I guess that's a new thing you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a new wrinkle in my journey, my therapy journey.
It's a lot. There are a lot of Mondays in the year. You could throw out a couple that you hate.
I mean, it's good because I also think the thing of doing Mondays is like I'm not gonna always play shit that I love.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't. And there's been plenty of things I've played where it's like, I'm kind of like not into this, but I'm going to like give it another chance in the context of watching it on the big screen. And most of the time I get pleasantly surprised. I might not become the biggest fan, but like,
I wish you would have done just Jaws the whole month.
I would, but like, we can't do 3D at L3 for Jaws 3, Jaws 3D.
Yeah, what, they don't have a print?
They probably have a 2D DCP, but there was another venue that was playing it in 3D, so it's like it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Plus, I did Jaws 3D back at the Arrow like a couple years ago, and
can they not do 3D digitally at LF3? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because they could definitely do on film.
Yeah, they can't. Well, if you had the glass, because you're talking about when they did Creature from the Black Lagoon. Yeah, but they had to use the old like red and blue 3D glasses.
Yeah.
But that Jaws DCP isn't like that. You need the fucking digital shit or those kind of glasses.
Yeah.
What was I getting at here? I don't even know. I got totally derailed.
Yeah, you were just still getting. You were gonna start yelling about Jaws 2 again. I had to cut you off.
I was trying to. I was trying to move off of it. Look, man, I'm trying to move on in life.
I had to just derail everything. I don't even know what we were talking about at this point.
I said my piece about Jaws too. It's getting its burial at sea like it deserves. Oh yeah. So that's what we
were talking about. We're just I had suggested that Jaws the whole month.
Yeah,
would have been cool. Would have been cool for sure.
I tried to do Jaws Revenge for Christmas or December last year, and Universal had no materials, no DCP, no film print, no nothing. Dude, you know the dude in the vault. Tell him to fucking look for that shit.
Hell yeah.
He'd be like, yo, find me that Jaws of Revenge print. But to close out this recap section of, I don't even know what the hell, I guess this is just, it's recap / Jim hates Jaws 2. When I was back at my parents' house in, I guess, September or November last year, I was, cleaning out my old childhood room and getting rid of shit, and I found my favorite VHS tape as a kid, which was taped off of CBS in the 80s. There's some others, but it was had Garfield Halloween Adventure and It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown on it, and it also had You're a Good Man Charlie Brown and a movie called Baby, which is about a dinosaur thing that no one remembers that movie, but it's on that tape. So the other day I decided to digitize at least the first half of it, which was the Garfield and Great Pumpkin section of it. And I was shocked by how good that looked because I knew I watched the shit out of that tape as a kid. There was definitely a section during the credits, the end credits for Garfield, that kind of like tracking got all a little fucked up. I'm guessing that was the part where I like fast forwarded to get to like the Great Pumpkin or whatever. But it was really cool, and it was just like, wow. And I was kind of looking at the commercials, and like there was a lot of commercial breaks during both of them because they had like sponsors, so I guess they could do the extended run. Like I think Garfield was brought to you by McDonald's and Teddy Ruxpin.
Hell yeah.
And like Great Pumpkin was like brought by Cadbury or some shit, and like some fucking butter company. I don't know. Weird times in the 80s. That like, you know what kids like? Butter. Let's put a butter ad in the middle of It's the Great Pumpkin Charlie Brown.
Butter's good as shit.
Well, it was marketed towards you then. But no, it was kind of cool to like, God. We're learning a lot about each other today. My hatred of Jaws 2, your love of butter. It's been a full circle. So, I mean, that's the recap portion of this podcast of some sort. I don't know. I'm just going to put a little clue in here, like, there is probably more Jaws 2 hate that got cut out of here at some point, but that's just what it is. But we're going to take a quick commercial break here, but when we return, we're going to talk about some future things that are coming up for Cinematic Void and even you, Nick Vance, on the Cinematic Void podcast.
Like, yeah, dude, you ever just get some bread and fucking cover it with butter and just put some like corn on it? You ever just have a corn sandwich?
I've never had corn. I've definitely put some butter on some, like, vegan butter on some bread. Because, like, I don't know what else to eat. And it's just like, I just want some butter.
Look at her.
She gave her butter to New Bluebonnet Butter Blend. What's the world coming to?
They wanted a real buttery taste.
They got it in New Bluebonnet Butter Blend.
I hear Bluebonnet Butter Blend tastes creamy rich and real buttery. Well, they'll never get our butter.
Never.
Introducing Bluebonnet Butter Blend. It tastes buttery because there's butter in it.
Blue's definitely your color.
Oh, thank you.
Time to make the donuts. The donut.
It isn't easy owning a Dunkin' Donuts.
Time to make the donuts.
Because unlike most supermarkets, we make our donuts fresh day and night.
But the guys who make supermarket donuts are still in bed. Plain donuts aren't enough. 5 kinds.
Of course, when you make donuts this good, there is one reward. They taste so great.
Good morning, folks.
People buy an awful lot of them.
Welcome back to the Cinematic Void podcast. We were doing some recapping in the last segment. For this one, we're going to talk a little bit what the future has in store. And right now, I have a gun in Nick's head because I'm going to make him talk about the fucking record he's been working on for, I don't know, last year or so.
Yeah, about that long. There's been, like, somewhere right in the middle of it, our drummer Rick had a baby. Basically, the band is my buddy Rick and I, and we wrote and recorded a record real quick. Basically, we tracked the drums like a week before his wife had her baby, and that was intentional. So that way we could keep working on the, I could go into the studio and keep working on the record while the baby was being reared. But so we just finished the record recently, just finally approved the mix and then the master. So I guess I'll be on streaming soon, and we're gonna do like shirts and cassettes and shit. But it's just he and I right now. I don't know. I guess I'm plugging my record right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, first off, you should say what the name of the band is.
Oh yeah. So the band's called Double Life. The record's called Indifferent Stars. It's just 3 tracks, and it's like, I don't know. What does it sound? What does it sound like? I don't know. It's kind of 90s indie rock and early 2000s indie rock, and maybe even like, I don't know, not all indie rock, major label influenced by lots of things, but
I think it's the best thing you've made, recorded, and like,
thanks, man,
throughout your whole musical career. And that's like taking out the things that I worked on with you. I think this is flat out
cool,
the best thing you've done, and it's 3 really good songs. I mean, I will fucking sell this record for you. I mean, it's like, it's a good mix of stuff. Like, the tone is great, your vocals are great. It's just like, there's a lot of like 90s and 2000s nostalgia going on musically, and I think this is like head and shoulders better than a lot of the things that are popping up, because one, you actually lived through those periods.
Right on.
I'm not trying to be ageist here, but I'm just saying, like, it feels very authentic. Like, this, the only thing that separates this record from being a record from like that 90s or early 2000s period is it's well produced, and it's sonically well together, and it's like taking advantage of the technology and really putting it forward.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. But it may or may not actually be out by the time this comes out. So I don't know. We'll I'm sure I'll mention it many times once it does actually come out. Yeah, I don't know. We don't really plan to play live right now because it's just the 2 of us. But once we have more than fucking 3 songs, we might entertain the idea of like putting an actual band together and doing it live, because there's no real way to promote it otherwise, But the cover art was done by Campton Mohager, who does the band Heavenward and the Fever Limited label. And his graphic design is great. He works with tons of bands, and he's even done shirts for like fucking the Rolling Stones lately and shit like that. And I think even like Radiohead, like he does tons of sick shit. So really stoked to have him on board. And it was recorded by Gabe Van Schouten, and he's great. He's in a band called Mossbreaker, and they're awesome as well. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's maybe it'll be out, maybe it won't. I don't know. It's taking, at this point, it feels like it's taking for fucking ever. So it's like, but I don't know. We've been working on it forever.
Well, I mean,
soon enough.
You gotten it mastered, so you're like, I think outside of maybe a band photo and
yeah, I mean, despite the fact that it's not a real band, we're trying to take all the do all the things that'll kind of like put it out there a little bit. So we need a promotional photo, and it's fucking stupid, but
you did buy a gold chain for this band though.
I didn't buy it for the photo. Well, I just bought a gold chain because I'm a guy that wears a gold chain.
Yeah, I love this pivot for you.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I will, if we play live, I will be wearing a gold chain. I'll probably be wearing multiple gold chains.
Dude, you're gonna be like fucking just flexing.
Yeah.
So,
do-rag.
just slowly becoming E-Town Concrete.
Hell yeah, dude.
Although I should mention the band sounds nothing like E-Town Concrete.
Or like an Eminem with the glasses.
Oh fuck, dude.
Too, the white do-rag glasses.
I mean, you did bleach your hair for that fucking Barbie costume contest.
Or maybe it was to be Eminem. I don't know where I'm going with this.
I don't know where.
I'm not going anywhere with this. Let's switch this up. Fucking yeah. I don't know. Maybe that should be out in 2 weeks. Maybe that should be out in a month. Keep your eyes out for it. Fucking Double Life in different stars. There, I did a whole ad, not an ad read, just an ad.
Just that. Well, you're
okay. We're just championing the things we're doing outside of the podcast. Yeah, man. I don't know. I'm stoked on it. It's just weird to talk about, you know?
Dude, you're an important factor to this podcast, and you should share the shit you're working on.
Thanks, man.
It can't be just me fucking talking about how I hate Jaws 2 for like 2 hours on here. Yeah. I mean,
we all know you could.
Well, I could. I'm going to start my own like side podcast where like Jim hates Jaws 2.
I'm actually starting a podcast where you just can't tell me to not say things. It's like, damn, dude, I thought it's like we're both just starting other podcasts just so that we can't like gatekeep each other.
I mean, it's, you know, it's a healthy expansion. There are parameters to this, I guess. I mean, not really. I feel like this is devolved way away from like us talking about films specifically to us just like talking about dumb shit for most of the podcast and like, oh yeah, we watched a movie.
Yeah.
Let's talk about To Live and Die in L.A. and some fucking Freddy Krueger ripoffs or whatever.
Let's learn about the Secret Service.
That was important.
Yeah, that was awesome.
That was goddamn important there. But, you know, I just feel like it's good to share and talk about the things we're working on, you know, because Cinematic Void, like, depending on where you come at it, like, some people know Cinematic Void because of the screenings in LA. Some people know it because of January Giallo. Some people know it because of the Cinemadness movie that popped up during the pandemic. So there's a lot of different ways that people have come here, you know, to listen to this. And there's a segment of like the people that go to the theater don't listen to the podcast. There's a segment of people that are online, like watching stuff, don't participate in that or can't go to live screenings. So I don't know. It's kind of good because you never know what someone's going to be into. And like, you know, we talk a lot about like music and punk and hardcore and stuff, which is probably alienating to a lot of our audience. But I also think there's definitely people that, you know, go and check shit out we talk about. And that's kind of why we did read, watch, and listen. Granted, I've failed at reading pretty consistently at this point, but that's just life. But, you know, speaking of future...
It's nice to be shamed for it, at least. You know, at least you have a
nice
source of shame.
Yeah, it makes me accountable and makes me feel shame for, like, just not picking up a fucking book. I have a whole bookshelf staring at me. And it's funny that probably after I get done recording this, I'm recording some vlogs for the Cinematic Void YouTube channel. I'm going to talk about some of my essential cult film books and be like, yeah, these books are important. Have I read them in the last fucking 10 years? Probably not. Well, I've skimmed through some of them.
Resource material.
Yeah, I still use them, but like, you know, sitting down and reading a new book just doesn't really happen. And I need to get better at that, but I'm skipping ahead to read, watch, and listen. We're not here yet. This part is I'm just going to talk about some future things that we're working for the Void, because obviously, consistently, been doing every Monday for, you know, last pretty much 2 years now. And, I mean, there's few. I mean, I did my first Monday where I wasn't there, because I just want to kind of try, because I just kind of like the idea that Void lives on even if I'm not there to some extent. I mean, obviously, there'll probably be a point where I stop it, but just like, I feel like if I can do screenings and I can put some things in that like I don't necessarily, you know, not that I'm putting out Friday the 13th Part 6, but like, just if I can put a movie that I know is going to be successful, but it's just like, it doesn't really matter to me that it's playing or not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, again, I think Friday 6 is probably one of the more entertaining and one of the best of the series. And I'm not a big Friday the 13th guy. That's been plenty on record. But just like the idea that I can pick a movie of something like, you know, I don't know if I would want to be here for this, but like, I know it will do well and it will like just keep momentum going and just, you know, just kind of mixing it up, because doing, close to 52 screenings a year now, it's like, you know, I'd like to feel like I'm never going to run out of movies, but sometimes I feel like I am running out of movies. But, part of the mission of Cinematic Void has always been talking about, like, why certain movies are important, why I screen them, that kind of stuff. So, and I feel like that mission doesn't really get accomplished a lot on the Cinemadness movie or in theater screenings, because sometimes it's limited by what I can show or just filling spots. So I started a new kind of video series on the Cinematic Void YouTube channel. I've been trying to build this up for years, and obviously the YouTube was started because of the Cinemadness movie and during the lockdown and shit. So I've been trying for a while to figure out what else I could do with the YouTube channel. And it's like, obviously, people came there because of the Cinemadness movie, but, a lot of those movies I can't permanently leave up for a variety of reasons, So I was trying to make original content, and, I do post a version of this podcast on here, so some of you might actually be listening to us right now on YouTube, but I also post the event trailers and started doing a Cinematic Void vlog that kind of got derailed for a little bit, sort of around the time that the podcast got derailed, but trying to get everything back on track, and be a little more consistent just in general. But I wanted to do something that kind of got back to the core of like what made Cinematic Void. So I started a thing, or a video series, I should say. It's more than a thing. It's a video series called In the Mouth of Cinemadness. Now, originally I came up with this title when I was working on with a project for Jonah Ray, which we may or may not still do. It just hasn't happened yet, but it was the title of it. And originally it was like we were going to do like live commentaries, or he would riff and I would do a commentary, or we'd do a mix or something like that. Mm-hmm. Haven't done it yet, but I really like the name. And I a lot of this started from doing the Cinematic Void zine. And I was writing a lot of personal stuff, and it's like a personal journey through cult films. And I was like, what's another way I can attack this other than, writing an article for a zine that comes out? Zine was quarterly, but now it's going to be twice a year now. It sells okay, the zine, but like, I feel like maybe scaling it back and then letting it build up to maybe being quarterly. I think twice a year might be a good way to go. So it's still happening. So if you were looking for an issue that's coming out in the fall, there won't be one, but there will be one for January 2024. And then it'll be like a winter, spring, and then a summer, fall issue. Kind of a continuation of the ideas I work on when I write for the zine is like talk about movies that had an impact on me. Because I feel like this doesn't go for every movie, but there's certain movies that you see at a certain point of your life that has like a connection to you, and there's like little side stories that go with it. Or maybe I'm just insane and have all these weird things that are connected to movies. So I kind of took the In the Mouth of Cinemadness and kind of used it as a way of like looking at my experiences getting into cult cinema and like the evolution of it. And so I was recording some Cinemadness movie intros back for when I did the run in the summer for the Camp Void series. And I did a one-off one where I talked about like, Night of the Living Dead. I've talked about, I think on other people's podcasts, I probably talked about it on here at some point, but I mentioned like Night of the Living Dead was always the film that kind of began my journey into cult films and getting into horror and that kind of stuff. Like really into horror, like seriously. So I did like a little one-take riff, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to do anything with this. And then I went back and watched it. It's like, it's okay. So I kind of edited, put some clips in, and that became the first In the Mouth of Cinemadness, which you can go watch on the YouTube. It's on 2 playlists. It's its own In the Mouth of Cinemadness, and it's also part of the Cinematic Void vlog playlist if you go to YouTube. So then I was like, well, there's plenty of other movies that have had an impact on me at different points in my life. So I did a couple more episodes, and probably by the time this comes out, there will be the Evil Dead 2 and Videodrome ones. And I just kind of wanted to talk about what seeing those movies at that time had the impact on me, and how it kind of changed who I was, and how it made me want to go after other cult movies, or just kind of open the door of like, because as a kid, when I watched movies, there was a lot of, mainstream, big Hollywood shit you would see. And, it was through Night of the Living Dead that kind of changed it and just made me want to, like, search, like, go deep and, like, films. And, like, there's also a period where, like, I love genre stuff, but there was a time I stepped away from it and got more into, like, foreign films and art house films and stuff like that. And I'm actually going to talk about those, too, because I think all those are important, because, like, all those films, by watching them and collectively over the years, led to being Cinematic Void. So this, In the Mouth of Cinematis, is kind of like, Martin Scorsese did his, like, my personal journey through film, or like European cinema or Italian cinema or whatever it was. So this is my version of it, and it's just with cult films. And obviously, to start things off with the series, I'm going to do the most obvious ones first. But right now there'll be probably 3 out by the time this episode comes up. I've recorded 4, and I had, they've been fun, and I've enjoyed doing them. I don't know if anyone's going to give a shit on YouTube, because it's just like, is that what they come to Cinematic Void for? So, but it's not going to stop me from trying.
Yeah.
So that's something I've been working on. I'm trying to do more vlogs in general. I like doing film locations, but they're also a pain in the ass, because they have to drive there, and you like most, it doesn't interest me to do like the popular movie locations, even though I'll probably end up doing some just here and there. But, the ones that interest me, like the ones I've done so far, I've done Joysticks, I've done X-Ray, I just did House by the Cemetery. Those, I just want to do the weird void-centric locations, and some of those are going to be harder to do than others, but do that. But it's like, I used to do like screening recaps on there, and like those in general never did well, even if I had clips of like Q&As and shit I did, like just... So I won't be doing those, but I think I'm going to, work on some things. Like, I'm going to talk about cult film books. It's going to be more about, like, I don't know. It's more about the building blocks and being excited about, like, loving film. Which is weird coming from a guy who just went on a rant about how much he hates Jaws 2. Yep. But, I don't know. I've been watching a lot of YouTube. And I've seen a lot of vloggers and people making video content, and a lot of... I even, I didn't want to, because I didn't want to be influenced or get angry at some of the other people's videos about, like, movies and stuff. And I watched some of them, and it's just like, a lot of it's very impersonal.
Yeah.
Or it's just very, like, I know all these facts from Wikipedia or whatever, And I'm not knocking that, because I've definitely used Wikipedia and IMDb for info, and I've also used my books I have. But the way I'm kind of approaching my YouTube content outside of Cinematis Movie and the podcast is like, it's going to be my personal journey, and it's like, I'm trying to be positive about shit. And like, again, as much as I was just slagging on Jaws 2.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, I want to get back to championing things. And it's like, I can't personally champion Jaws 2. Yeah. But I see a lot of videos where like, and there's like music and stuff where like all the thumbnail, it's all like negative, like clickbaity shit. And I understand that, like, that's probably the popular thing to do, because everyone does it on YouTube, but it's just, like, I kind of just want to take things from a positive and just, like, don't want to say inspirational, but, like, I don't know. It's just, like, kind of unwinding and kind of figuring out, like, where I came from. It's, like, self-discovery or re-self-discovery for me. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing on YouTube. So, again... It's cheaper than paying a therapist. Just go through and post some shit. I mentioned the podcast a few times. I want to talk about some things that are coming up here. So, been working on this a little bit, but because last year when you and I got super busy and we ended up slacking and just didn't do the podcast for like 3 months or whatever it was. I mean, there was a lot going on during that time. I decided to, like, kind of make the content burden a little easier on us. And we talked about this, I started interviewing some of my fellow film programmers across the country. So starting in September, and it's going to kind of run off and on for the next couple months as, I talk to people or whatever, but just kind of in between episodes, I'm interviewing various film programmers, some of which I've worked with, some of which I haven't worked with. So it's going to be a mix, and I try to do a variety of people, so it's not just all genre people. It's like people who do, like, full-time programming, run a theater, creative directors, that kind of stuff. And I don't know, for me, film programming, and I know we did a big film programming episode back on episode 50, but, like, I love insider baseball shit. I love to know how people think and how they're looking at stuff, and, like, putting series together, like, what they're looking for, like, does attendance and money, how much that impacts what they do, kind of stuff. So it's kind of nice. It's, you know, I've done 3 of these so far, and I got a couple more that I'm going to be doing in the next couple weeks. But yeah, starting in September, we're going to start doing those and probably take a little break in October and then pick them up again in November. Just, I don't know, just to do something different because, you know, obviously we talk Cinematic Void and we talk mostly genre stuff primarily, or we're supposed to. We've definitely deviated quite a bit. But I also think it's important to understand, like, you know, the importance of the people that curate, you know, what you see on a screen at an art house or a repertory cinema. And the reason why I think it's important, like, one of the things, the reason why this happened is, like, I don't know if you're aware of this personally, but there's an award that comes out every year. It's the Rondo Hatton Awards.
I've never heard of this in my life.
It's kind of like a genre film award thing. And every year they have they have different categories and stuff, but like one thing is they'll pick like a live like theater retrospective, but it kind of just ignores like the like programming across the country in general. It's just like I feel like film programmers should get their dap.
Yeah.
And I'm not even talking about me personally. I'm just saying just the career in general, because like right now there's a lot of people aspiring to be film programmers or to host screenings or whatever, you know. So I don't understand why like that doesn't get the dap it should. You know, they'll give horror host awards, you know. Is it because they're on TV? But like people that have to consistently fucking figure out what to put on a movie screen day in, day out is like, it's not easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to spread the love and just like, you know, put people on, because there's probably people that listen that aren't aware of like, oh, there's a repertory like cinema I can go to that's like maybe might be a little out of the way, but it's like close enough for them to go every once in a while and check it out. Because like, you know, for me, one of the best things you can do is go to a movie theater. And when that experience is perfect, you know, even something like Oppenheimer, you know, and 70 millimeter IMAX, or seeing Barbie with the right crowd or whatever, or seeing Jaws 2 with a loving audience. You know, the in-theater experience has to come from somewhere. It's got to be, and it comes down to the person who put that movie on the screen. And it also comes down to the projectionist that's run that print, or that DCP, or just like, there's a lot of things to it. So, but it comes down to the film programmer, because someone had to decide, I want to play this film on this date. So, looking forward to that series, and I hope everyone kind of checks those out, because, you know, it's important. It's like, you know, I got to meet a lot of people because of January Giallo, because a lot of theaters and film programs were very open and receptive to, like, you know, taking a chance on a series that, like, yeah, it did well in LA, but, you know, they had no reason to, like, really say, yeah, we'll give you a bunch of dates in January to try something. So, I don't know. They're my peers. They're cool people, and some good conversations so far. And lastly, speaking of the future and speaking of other theaters, I don't know if I can announce the... Actually, yeah, by the time this comes out, I can probably talk about them. We'll probably talk a little bit more about these when the September lineup episode comes out next, but I'm actually heading to Chicago at the beginning of September, Thursday, September 7th. Jeremy Wagner, who we had on the podcast for the band Broken Hope, hit me up a couple months ago, and it was like, hey, I want to do a screening and I want to work with you on it. And I was like, where do you want to do it? He's like, I want to do it in Chicago. So I was like, so I connected him with William Morris, who we both know. Love Will. Will's one of my favorite people. He's also going to be one of the interviewees on the film programmer sub-series of the podcast. We came up with some ideas. We had a pretty elaborate one, which just wasn't going to work because there was no dates for it, because it had to fall at a certain point. So we all teamed up and we're doing a screening of Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 at the Music Box in Chicago. It's on Thursday, September 7th at 7 p.m. I'm going to be out there, and Jeremy's going to be there, and Caroline Williams from Chainsaw 2 is going to be out there too, or should be. I believe that's all locked in at this point. So it's kind of cool to, you know, work on something at another theater across the country, and that is in January Giallo. And then the next day, because I'm a maniac. I'm flying to Boston because Midnight Mark, who works at the Coolidge, who, love Mark, we had talked about doing a series together that was outside of, January Giallo, and we did a cultural exchange of sorts. So in September, and this is a tease, and we'll get into more detail about it on that episode, basically I'm playing Boston movies that Mark programmed in September, and Mark is playing LA movies that I programmed in September at the Coolidge. And because I was in Chicago and that, flight to Boston's like less than 2 hours or something like that, I'll be flying to Boston and I'll be there to host a screening of Collateral as part of one of the LA movies.
Cool.
So, yeah, doing some traveling, doing some non-January Giallo traveling, which is nice. But yeah, that's kind of the future of Void. Oh, before I forget, because I don't want to, we talked about YouTube, but I didn't really talk about this part of it. Sid Madness movie will be back in October. I'm going to switch dates on it. It's not going to be Fridays. It's going to be on Saturdays, and I think I might have a slightly earlier start time. I haven't figured it out yet. Reason why I'm doing Saturdays is just, kind of change it up and give more people a chance to watch it. Because I think sometimes Friday nights are just too many other things going on. But it's going to be 4 new episodes. The last episode of this little mini season is going to be a double episode or a double feature. So I got the movies lined up. I've already been cutting in commercials. I'll probably sometime in September start filming all the intros for that. But yeah, kind of excited to bring that back. So that is the future of the Void and the future of Vance. We're going to take one last commercial break, but when we return, it'll be read, watch, and listen here on the Cinematic Void Podcast.
Right from the moment. Here's where it all started. The history will blow you away. Right from the arts, the symphony and the ballet. There's a lot to fit in. Right from the legend.
Are you the legend? Nah, he's the legend.
Hey, I'm just marvelous.
Right from the heart.
To be part of Boston's exciting new spirit, just call 1-800-858-0200.
It'll cheer you right up. Boston is right from the start.
You've selected the finest replacement window that money can buy.
These people know what they want. Why? Because before they bought replacement windows, they sent for this free book. It's got all the questions answered on prime replacement windows, and they're going to find peace of mind with Super Sage Window Company. So if you're serious about replacement windows, call 583-4855, and I'll send you this book. Better yet, I'll bring it myself. We'll get serious together. Call Super Sash at 583-4855. Super Sash.
Welcome back. It's now time for on the Cinematic Void Podcast, where we talk about all the things we've been reading, watching, and or listening to since the last time we recorded a podcast. All right, Nick, what have you been reading, watching, and or listening to?
I just started ripping back into, and this is because you mentioned it maybe a podcast or two ago. I don't know, they all came out in weird-ass orders. You mentioned that you would watch Swamp Thing, and so I just been reading, I now have I bought all the Swamp Thing graphic novels that I didn't have, all the Alan Moore series, is what I mean in particular. But so I've just been ripping into and just reading one issue a day of the Swamp Thing. So that's what I'm reading. And then I just watched that Jonah's Awful episode of Black Mirror. So I'm just basically watching all the stuff that you just talked about.
Although I don't remember watching Swamp Things, I just remember you randomly pulling them off the shelf when we were doing like the last rewatch.
I swear you mentioned Swamp Thing for some reason, and that's why.
Last time I watched that was probably like a year ago, if not more.
No idea, dude.
Something like all of a sudden, like, Jim watched Swamp Thing a year ago. I should reread the comic.
Anyway, Swamp Thing rules, so I'm back on my Swamp Thing shit. And still make my way through that Matt McCusker Overlook book. So then, watch-wise, I just watched Matt McCusker's new comedy special called, I believe it's The Speed of Light. It's pretty good. He's like one of my favorite podcasters right now. He's so fucking funny that I feel like maybe it just didn't hit quite as like, he didn't go as like absurd as he is. He played a little safe, I think, but I love him. He's great. I'm gonna go see him in November in North Carolina. I love this guy. Anyway, I just watched Jonah's Awful on Netflix on Black Mirror, and it's a really fucking cool episode. And it was like, I also just watched Adaptation and Eternal Sunshine of a Spotless Mind. So Jonah's Awful is kind of in that same camp of, again, like kind of what I wanted out of Barbie was like some Truman Show. So I love the multi-layered. I thought Jonah's Awful was cool, man. I've always been a Black Mirror fan, so I think it's the only new episode I've watched so far, but I think it rocked.
It's still the only new episode I've watched.
Yeah, but you really liked it, and you're like, yeah, maybe I am a Black Mirror guy.
Yeah.
So,
and I just haven't got around to it, but
yeah. And then, like I said, I just watched fucking Sloppenheimer. It's all right. It's all right. It's no Barbie, I'll fucking tell you that much. And then listen, what the fuck, man? New Story So Far song came out yesterday, so I listened to it like 30 times. I've only been listening to that song. No, what else?
Our friend Kellen, I guess when it dropped, he sent it to me, and I was like, I listened to it. I was like, I know who's gonna be all over this shit.
Yeah,
Nick.
Dude, you just send it to fucking Nick. Don't fucking send this shit to me. New Teenage Wrist just came out today as well, or last night, I guess. It comes out at midnight on the East Coast, I think is what it is. So we get it at 9 o'clock, which is nice. It's a new Teenage Wrist just came out. I've been listening to that. Been listening to the new World Peace. It is written. I guess EP. It's fucking 10 minutes long. It's an EP. No Warning. Fucking, I don't know. Now I got my fucking chain. I had to listen to Only Built for Cuban Links. I don't know, man. Yeah, dude, that's about it, man. I don't know, man. I'm fucking real busy, dude.
Real busy. Not busy enough to, well, I mean, you've had the gold chain. You got it before I went on my vacation.
That's right. Old school.
Yeah.
I've had that shit forever, dog.
Man, you're bringing it back. Anyway, read, watch, and listen. Read, no big surprise here. I ain't read shit. Watch. I've been catching up on Dark Side of the Ring. Saw the Bam Bam Bigelow episode and the Bash of the Beach 2000.
There's a Bam Bam episode, dude?
Oh, yeah, there's a Bam Bam.
Is that brand new?
It's not the most recent one. It was the one before. The Bash of the Beach one's the most recent one.
Dude,
but
Bam Bam is so sick.
Bam Bam, like,
I'm ready for that.
Dude, it's great. Like, I don't know, man. It's just like that. He was one of my favorite wrestlers growing up because it's like, dude,
always.
Doing fucking cartwheels, got a fucking flame tattooed on his head.
Did he end up being the big boss man?
No, that was a different guy.
No, wasn't he? Damn. Did he not? He didn't do a different character where he was like a security guard or a cop or something?
No, he was always Bam Bam Bigelow.
Huh. Okay.
He was one of the few guys who was at, in WWF and went to all the different places and got to keep himself as a gimmick. Watched those. Had a virtual date night the other night with Leslie. We watched the Mortuary Collection on Shudder. It's an anthology film. I compare it to being like, I don't know, it was like a hard R-rated Goosebumps, and it was just kind of underwhelming. Like, it just didn't feel consistent. Like, it kind of had like a really good idea behind it, but just didn't really pull together for me for whatever reason. I watched on Tubi, Fascism on a Thread, The Strange Story of Nazi-Ploitation Cinema. I know it's a featurette that's on one of those Severin releases, and it's pretty interesting. It's, Nazi-Ploitation is pretty much probably a subgenre that is not coming back anytime soon in your exploitation market. But it, it covered like the more art house stuff like Salo and Night Porter, and then of course Ilsa, She-Wolf, the SS, and Beast and Heat, and all the more trashier ones. And then last thing, and I don't know why I'm putting this. I'm just putting it because like there's a thing that happened into that made me mad, and there's just like I can't watch this shit. So Netflix put out this show called How to Become a Cult Leader, and I was like, all right, this seems to be trending. I'll give it a shot because some of that true crime or like that stuff on Netflix sometimes is good, sometimes it's dog shit. This was a little messy. And what I mean by messy is like the stream of conscious, like kind of like, B-roll cutting in of like footage, the stuff. But there's a segment and they're talking about Charles Manson, that they did a animated recreation of Charles Manson as a kid getting bullied. And I was like, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever seen. And I like just turned it off and like done. Mm-hmm. Like it was literally I can't believe someone made that as an artistic choice. Like, I almost want you to go watch it, because it's just like, it is just...
I mean, on paper, that sounds like something I want to watch.
Yeah, but it's just like, but it wasn't even good animation. It was just
I
like...
mean, not the animated Charles Manson thing. I just mean in general, just how to become a cult leader. It's like, oh, that's a docuseries I want to fucking see.
Yeah, like, it started off like, oh, shit, I'm all aboard. And then, like, that dropped. And I was like, nope.
Yeah.
Listen, I listened to the new Outer Heaven Infinite Psychic Depths. Sick shit, if you like death metal. Nas dropped another surprise record, Magic 2. I know it's probably like a bunch of Lucy's from the, for the King's Disease series. Sort of like the first Magic, but like, there's some good shit on here.
Oh, yeah.
And again, Nas has just been on fire. Like, this 5 like album run he's been on with the 3 King's Diseases and now the 2 Magics, it's just like, goddamn, dude, it's incredible. Because like, I can't think of another like hip hop artist this late in their career, so to speak, that's like still killing it. Because most, hip hop's not really kind, and most people kind of age out. You already mentioned it, but new Teenage Wrist, Still Love came out. I think I listened to it twice today, and hearing it like a piecemeal with the singles, I was like, I don't know. But like hearing it as a whole, I really like it a lot.
Cool.
And we're seeing them, right?
Yeah.
You got us a ticket, so to a show that we may or may not actually go to by the time we get there.
I'm going to this one. I'm excited for this one.
Okay, are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to this one. Rest of these are just basically singles. Denzel Curry, Blood on My Nikes, featuring Juicy J. Fuck, man.
Fire.
Dude, I love Denzel, and like, it's taking like the trap formula and just making it better, and then putting Juicy J at the end.
That's what the Zoo record was, I thought. But he's done a lot of different things, but the Zoo was kind of a trap record, and I've been missing that side of him,
Yeah, I mean,
so this is sick.
I actually, like, I don't listen to a lot of trap music, but I do like when Denzel does it, because he does it well, and it's like he takes the formula, but he does, like, I think the key is, like, when he's actually rapping over the beat, he's fucking saying some shit, which is not really common for a lot of trap stuff, and plus that Juicy J verse is just, it's fucking incredible. Like, especially the Leonardo DiCaprio line at the end, like, I fucking laughed out loud when I heard it at the end. Just go listen to the song and you'll see what I mean. Liars Academy put out a single, which was a Leatherface cover of the song I Don't Want to Be the One to Say. And it's fucking good. Wasn't expecting that. Or, I mean, you're friends with Chris, so...
I talk to him almost every day. I didn't even know this was coming out.
Wow.
So they really dropped that shit on the sly.
Damn. You think they got more shit up their sleeve? Or
who knows, man?
I mean, that last record was fucking good. I know that last record's like 20 years old and then came out, but still. Final Gasp released a new song on their forthcoming record. The song's called Climax Infinity. You introduced me to Final Gasp under the notion of, like, Sam Hain worship.
Yeah.
And, I know people love Misfits. I know people love Danzig, but the best thing Glenn Danzig ever has done is Sam Hain. And I'm stoked someone is doing a Sam Hain style band and doing it fucking beyond perfect.
Very well. Yeah.
So, and this song, the first one was more, maybe I would say, drifting more towards like the death rock aspect of things. But this one is like full on Sam Hain.
Yeah.
And it's just like incredible.
Hell yeah.
Also, Koyo released another song with, I think, the singer of Glassjaw on it. And making a cameo or whatever. So I've been listening to the 3 songs that are out. I guess this full album comes out in September or something like that. So
cool. Is that a I'm pretty certain, but do you think that's a Stalker reference on the cover of the Koyo record?
We've talked about this. I mean, did they have Tarkovsky in Long Island? I'm just kidding. I have friends that are from Long Island. I'm sure like, man, fuck you, man. We've seen Tarkovsky there. Nah, it could be. It's like, the thing is that, like, a lot of hardcore bands and, like, you and I, hardcore and punk, we love movies. So it wouldn't surprise me. And if it is a Stalker reference, that's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, that's my read, watch, and listen. And that's going to wrap up this edition of the Cinematic Void podcast. Tell us what you think, and tell us, what you're excited for that's coming up in the Void, or, and also when that Double Life EP drops, fucking download that shit, put it on your You know, I'm sure it'll be on Apple Music, Spotify, all those usual suspects of places. So give it a listen and, you know, tell Nick what you think, because despite him being my friend, I will go to bat and say it's a really fucking great record, and you should definitely check it out. So until next time, see you in the void.
And if you order now, you'll receive this cap rack absolutely free. So don't throw away your favorite cap. Get Clean Cap.